Congratulations to everyone else who's on this, is it a podium or a dais, I don't know, whatever it is, and then also for everyone else who's going to be honored. As to those who are up here tonight, you go to that Hall of Fame and I'm seeing the names of the people that I read about. You read about as a kid, and when you get older, and since then, as I would still read the Sentinel about all these people, how wonderful they are. And why am I here? I have a good press agent, my sister. She wrote a pretty good application. But this is the honor. You can't believe how this is. Tonight on the way here, it was like back as a kid growing up, I grew up in the outside district up by Lake Delta. School bus was one of the best things that there ever existed because I got more homework done on that school bus going into school than I did any other time, even in my third grade teacher, Mrs. Mosier, who, I did have a crush on her. Except, and she was pregnant, left during the year, and Mark was born. Lord, what you did to... Anyway, I'll get past that. I'm past it. I got past it. You can probably tell. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee. You guys do so much work. And again, unless you've been involved, unless you've been here and gone through what we've been doing, especially this has been going on for 2 years. I got a call from Carl. I don't remember if it was from Bill or if it was from Carl Eilenberg 2 years ago. And they told me, and I was, wow, that's pretty exciting. But it's been 2 years putting this whole thing together, and we keep this all together to get us here. It's been a great job for all the members, and I know some of you. Most of you have no idea who I am. You don't. I left here 34 years ago for the last time. Before that, I lived in Albany for 7 years. I came back for 3 after law school for a while. Moved out to Indiana, met my wife. Be careful. It shows how choices. Sometimes you make a choice. You don't think it's going to mean anything. You make a choice. You go to Jack Appleseed's in the north side of Utica on a Friday night. Whatever. You meet a young woman who did the same thing from Dolgeville. You meet, 16 months later, you're married and you're moving to Indiana. You just don't know. That's a choice over which you had no decision. You didn't know what was going to happen. The decisions I may talk about at a later time. I walked the parade yesterday and I saw how important it was. And one of the things it did, I met JR. Never met him. I'd read about him. I'd never met him. I found out yesterday, stepmother, born, raised 2 doors down from me up in the outside district. I've already talked about Mrs. Mosier. Rome, it's all over. No matter where you are, you meet people, and it gets closer and closer and closer every day. You see people. I don't care if you're living in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I understand they have get-togethers every week. A number of people live there. Or out in Indiana. You meet people who know of it. Be proud of the city. Be proud of everything it's done for you to get you where you are now. Now it's your job, to the students, to the youth, to take that next step beyond. I'm going off script. Thank you to the coaches. We've all talked about it. We've all talked about it. And for those of you who never had this man as a coach, I feel sorry for you. Was he hard? He was hard. That story, yeah, we were screwing up. It was the championship season. We were screwing up. Christmas Eve day, we ran it one more time. Yeah, I ended up in the hospital on Christmas Eve day. I did learn that a great thing to do is you take towels, fill them with snow, athletic tape, and it keeps the swelling down. So that's a future guide. That, and in soccer, you take the shin guards, put them there when you break a wrist, and you tie it on. That's the other thing. It's amazing the things you learn. But the coaches who've influenced all of us that are here, we couldn't do it without them. There are others that we need to thank. My family. my parents, who would do anything to support my decisions. But they didn't make the decisions for me. You see that a lot. You know, we've all seen it. We've all seen it. Parents getting in the way. I'm not saying that's happened here at all. And we're all wonderful. We're all here. But, so to my parents and also to my mother, who never, ever threw out my baseball cards. And I have my Yankee card, my Mickey Mantle cards from the early 1960s in the shoebox out in Indiana. And I brought something that I shared with Scott today. It's a scorebook. I don't know how I got it, but I know the statute of limitations has run. But it has, among other things, there's a guy named Mike Brady back in the day who would keep score for different games. And I have the actual box score from that championship game. We gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the 6th. We had a 3-2 lead. We lost 6-3. But, you know. So, Mom, thank you. My children, well, first, my family, my other family, the table over here, we're kind of dwindling as time goes on. My sister, my older sister, Suzanne, who a good friend of Susie's, who moved back to Rome after 52 years plus being away. Wow, she came back home. My mom always wondered if that was going to happen for me, but, you know. My sister, I've mentioned, my publicist, she put everything together. You know, you may know her as Wendy Waters. So that Waters family has been around for a while. To my children, Rachel, who's not here tonight, because those of you who complain about school here, she graduated from Butler, got her master's degree this spring, working at a school in the north side of Indianapolis. They start classes tomorrow. I know. So she couldn't make it. But I want to thank her for being willing to allow me to coach her for so many years. Those years where we drove to games and she drove back or rode back with me. Not drive, no, she didn't drive. It was with the riding back with me. You know, for Sam, who didn't get mad because I didn't coach him as much, which was probably the best thing that could have ever happened for both of us. If you saw the article in the paper and I was serious, man, boys are really pants. But to my wife, Shay, took the young man out of central New York, deposited him in Indiana for what we thought might be 5 or maybe 10 years as she got her PhD. Again, she was from Dowdesville. Wow, got a PhD, it's pretty good. But I coached for, a long time. And it wasn't until COVID hit 2 years ago when our club shut down, our soccer, it shut down out in Indiana. I was home. I was home at night. I was home on the weekends. And maybe it wasn't until that time that I recognized how much the spouse of a coach puts up with when the coach, the spouse, isn't there. Thank you, dear. To my players, they gave me an escape. They've given me an escape from my reality, my real world job is, I'm in my now 3rd term. My days are spent with the worst of the worst people in front of me, and I have to decide, what am I going to do with this person? Ray was trying to put him there. And I'm trying to decide what to do with them. But one of the things that's also done, these girls, they knew that I tried to show them, you have a real life. You have the opportunities, take advantage of it, because there's so many people out there who don't have those same opportunities. Or maybe those same people who have had that chance to make a decision, they haven't made that right decision, and they're in front of me. And then I have to make a decision, not a choice. I have to make a decision. So I thank my players. You know, I'm speaking about my coaching. It's rather presumptuous, I think, because of everything that all of these other coaches have done for all of you. Doesn't matter how old you are. You had a coach, someone who's going to step in and take care of your team. To the youth, you can't understand how important it is. To the parents, don't get mad at the coaches. If they didn't do it, would you? But as I said, I was a little presumptuous to talk too much about my coaching. It was an avocation. It wasn't a profession. Something I'd love to do, be around these kids, bring me back to life after these awful days I could spend in the courtroom. But I had 5 rules. I've had the rules that Calvin had ring true. First, family, school, soccer, in that order. If you someone on the family had something going on with the family, you did it with them. If you had a paper due the next day, first of all, you should have done it the week before, but if it was due the next day, you got to do it, right? Soccer's last. Second, your first paycheck from a soccer team was not going to be as a player. It was going to be as their attorney, their accountant, their therapist. One exception, one young woman playing in Europe and for the Philippine national team. I had nothing to do with that. But that's true. 3, field ready. Field ready. If it was at 6 o'clock, don't be pulling into the parking lot at 6 o'clock. Don't be taking your earrings out at 6 o'clock. We have a finite period of time in which we get to spend with you. 4, there are no participation awards in life. Does that mean I'm supposed to stop? Shh, shh. You got 1 minute? Nah, it ain't going to happen. She's a psychologist. She's telling me that. The 5th thing, and I'm deferring to Ray yet again, he talks about adverbs. Never, these are the rules of soccer, the rules of life for my soccer players. Never end a sentence in a preposition. Now, mind you, I've been living in Indiana, okay? And if I heard one more girl say, "Coach, where's the game going to be at?" It's going to be at the field where we play next. Play at. Scott mentioned, and I will move this through, sorry. Mentioned today the poet, Tennyson. I have a different poet. His name is Springsteen. And he had a song back in 1984 called Glory Days. In one part of that song, it says, "Glory days, well, they'll pass you by. Glory days in the wink of a young girl's eye. Glory days, glory days, glory days." These are your glory days to the youth, but don't think this is the end of it, right? Don't think that this is the end. You remember the successes of your teams, the 74 basketball, the 73 baseball. You remember those. You remember your failures. My last story, and I'm bringing Coach Evans back into it, 1972. I know, 50 years ago. Undefeated season. Going to Notre Dame, game number 13. Top of the 7th, you score a couple runs. We're 1 run down. Man on second base, I'm up. And I still remember going up to the plate, and should I go ask him if I should take a pitch? No, he'll tell me. Swing at the first pitch, fly out. We lose the game. We lose the undefeated season for the guy who cared most about all of us. You remember those things as you move on as an individual. Again, for the youth, good luck. Good luck. We screwed things up for you sometimes. But we have our faith that the youth of today are going to pull it through. Thank you.